is it realistic for them to aspire to this amazing path that you've been on?
It's a great question as well. First of all, I'll say we've co-invested. I think we've co-invested with Nas, but I definitely know that we've co-invested with Jay-Z. It's a
Wow.
company called Super in Indonesia,
Mm.
and that was a big moment for me. It's a company I sit on the board of it, so I'm
Wow.
very involved in this company, and they do e-commerce there. That was a big moment for me because actually the biggest miss of my musical career is that I was this close to playing on a record for Jay-Z. I don't know if you remember the acoustic album that the Roots did with him.
Mm.
I
But
love.
the studio where I was recording our album, it was called The Studio. So it was the Roots, and Larry Gold is the producer. Um, so it
Wow.
was kind of like a JV with them. And Larry said, "Hey, he's a cellist actually, like you, Omo. I think you started as a cellist, right?"
Yeah.
So he went to Curtis, like
Wow.
he's done strings for everybody, like everybody that you can imagine, Jay-Z, J-Lo, Justin Timberlake, Rihanna, Kanye, everybody. So, but he said, "Hey, this old Jewish guy, hey, Kimbo, I'm putting a string quartet together for Jay-Z. You want to come?" I was like, "Yeah, dude. Like, you don't need to pay me. I'm there. Just let me know." So, all right.
Yeah.
I'll give you a call. And then, 3 weeks later, I'm in the studio, and he's like talking, he's like kind of bragging about how amazing this experience was going to New York and playing on this record for Jay-Z. And I'm like, "Larry, you said you're gonna let me play on that record." And he's like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry. I'm so sorry." But anyways, that's what led to the
Oh
sort of
wow.
he felt bad, I think. So he told Rodney in the studios, "Hey, you go check out Kimbo." So that led to the Brandy thing, but I don't know. I love Brandy,
Mm.
but man, Jay-Z was such a huge
Wow.
fan. So anyways,
I
having been
love
so close to
him.
be able to collaborate with him, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like full circle, after many many years collaborating. I still haven't met him, by the way. He's not like a buddy or anything, but
Right.
the fact that we're
That's
working alongside
crazy.
each other, yeah, to help this company is it was like a really full sort of a moment, I guess, for me in a sense. So yeah, I guess to get back to the
Wow.
question, um, is it realistic? And should people aspire to be music creators? I mean, I think the thing that I'll say is like, uh, no matter what you're doing, you have to think big. I mean, it's your responsibility to think big. um,
Mm.
there's a lot of research out there. I was a psychology minor, so I love thinking about um, the mind, the human mind, and there's so much research out there about how if you think big, bigger things happen.
Mm.
um, and that's why
Right.
athletes, they sit there and they like visualize themselves winning a race, right? A competition. What does it
Mm.
feel like? What does it smell like? What is all the
Mm.
sensory things? And when they do that, the research shows they win more, right? They actually do better, right? They
Wow.
don't win all the time.
Yeah.
They win a lot more than they would if they really believe and visualize themselves like winning.
Mm.
um,
For sure.
and this is like goes throughout history, right? I mean, I go to church. I've explored a lot of different faiths. I was, practicing Buddhist at one point,
Mm.
and a Hindu, and all these things. But like, and it's pretty kind of universal in a sense. But
Yeah.
if you look back at the Bible as an example, like Jesus actually never
Mm.
asked people to have less faith. He always asked them to have
Mm.
more,
Yeah.
right?
More.
Yeah.
Why? Because he wanted people to live good lives and find, great experiences. And the way you do that is by thinking bigger, right? If you think,
Mm.
Mm.
there's an entrepreneur that I met once, and he said, if you reach for the sky and you hit the treetops, it's a lot better than sitting on the ground, right? Which is what most people do.
Mm.
They just sit there on the ground.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, I think like you have to think big. Whatever you're doing, you have to just believe in yourself and have faith that you're on a mission
Mm-hmm.
from God, to do something
Mm-hmm.
amazing and make a positive impact on this world at a really, really big scale. And if you do that, then you're going to be more successful, like than you would be otherwise. And let me tell you, if you're successful, you're going to have to become an investor at some point, right? Because you're just going
Yeah.
to get some money, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when that happens, ideally you shouldn't be spending all of it, right? Because it just makes a lot more sense, I think, to save. I mean, again, like, spend a lot of time with this, and frankly, in the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
there's probably a little bit too much of that. I think people probably spend too much of the money that they get, like showing off
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and things, as opposed to like
Flossing.
sewing,
Yeah.
yeah, floss. And instead of like, sewing back into the future.
For sure.
And particularly if you have some skill set. I mean, all these people Jay-Z and us, but people who have achieved anything in the industry, they have a network, they have
Yeah.
access to opportunities,
Hmm.
they have a brand, and those things. I mean, a lot
Yeah.
of people have money, but like when you can multiply your return on money with those assets that you have that are not even financial, I think it's a no-brainer. You absolutely got to do it. And yeah, so I'd encourage everybody
Yeah.
who's listening in. Yes, it's realistic. It's your responsibility. You got to do
Mm.
it. And I'll also say this, like, you know, um, there's a guy named Bill Johnson who said this once. He said, whenever you think big, right? There are going to be moments when things happen, like miraculous things happen, and you step forward. And there are going to be moments when, things fail, right? Your circumstances go
Yeah.
down. So in those situations, when things are great, that's great. That's easy, right? And you have more faith because you're like, oh my goodness, that just happened. Like, dude, this can happen. So you start to think bigger. But the question is, what happens when something doesn't go exactly as you plan?
Mm.
You set a goal for yourself to get like, I don't know, however many streams on Spotify, and it's like 1/10 of that.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
do? Well, you can lower the level of your faith to the level of your circumstances,
Mm.
or you can keep your faith high. And if you do, inevitably, over time, let your circumstances, they will rise to the level of your faith, right?
Mm.
So you can't get discouraged, right? Because there's always going to be ups and there's always going to be downs, but
Yeah.
you
Yes.
just got to keep the faith, man. You just got to think big, and I believe you will become an investor, and yeah, be able to follow that same path for sure.